A lot of people automate their B2B lead generation outreach and they end up sounding spammy. They sound like a robot and they wonder why they're not getting meetings booked in with qualified prospects. It's because they do not trust you and you sound like everybody else. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through how, if you're already using automation tools or you're about to use an automation tool, how you can go and fix it to make sure that you actually get a high volume of qualified prospects replying and actually booking into your calendar. So with that being said, let's get into it. So the reason why we actually go and do automation and use automation tools is to literally speed things up and make it everything more efficient. So then in an ideal world, we would just set and forget it and then get meetings booked in, but it doesn't happen like that. And if you've never really done it, or if you haven't been doing this for years, it's probably not going to work like that. So you've obviously got tools like Instantly for cold email, Pros for LinkedIn outreach, Sender to send sort of personalized landing pages and Loom style videos. And you've got like tools like Replies to send out sort of personalized videos. And you've probably used some of these tools and you're probably not getting as many responses as you would like. So just to set the scene, here's an example of if your email outreach, for example, if you're using Instantly, is looking somewhat like this, where it's just looking very templated and you sound like a bit of a spammer and it's just sounding very robotic and you've got no real strategy behind it. That's probably why you're not getting as many responses booked in. So someone's obviously not set it up correctly and they've rushed into it and they've used my email instead of my first name in the tool that they're using like Instantly, because they haven't bothered to like go and, find the correct lead list and reach out to, the first name. And they're saying that I'm an SEO agency. So they're saying I'm reaching out from a digital marketing agency that partners with SEO agencies like yours. It's like, no, I'm not an SEO agency. I'm a lead generation agency. And then it's basically saying, here's what we do. Can I share the pricing and the packages? No, I don't really want to see the pricing and the packages. Like, I don't actually know who you are. You haven't even had a call with me. Why would I want to know the prices? And then there's sort of desperation there, like reply yes and please share. So you don't want your emails to look like that. And what's happened here is they've basically just pulled a random lead list. And I know the temptation to go onto Apollo and then you type in, SEO agencies, if you're targeting SEO agencies or, videographers or whatever your ideal clients are, whatever industry is. I know the temptation is just to get that lead list and go, right, let's go and smash the outreach. Let's just go and put them in a automation tool like Instantly or like Prosp or whatever, and then just set and forget and just basically hope and fingers crossed they're going to book a sales call and then I'm going to close them on the call. Ideally, that would happen, but it can't happen, or you're not going to get as many responses if your emails are looking like this. And the reason why that happens is because you've probably got a lead list of 1,000 leads and you plugged it in there and there's no strategy or anything behind it. And I remember when I was first doing B2B lead generation for a company years and years ago, and we were targeting other businesses. They were based in the UK. They were targeting businesses globally. And I remember we used to get really good results by just writing out personalized emails. And I was thinking, holy shit, there must be a better way to go and speed this up. And this was before, I'm pretty sure Instantly had maybe just come on the scene, or it was before they were even about. We were using HubSpot, and HubSpot is just a CRM tool. And I remember they introduced a platform feature called sequences, and it's basically the same as Instantly, where you can send an email, wait a couple of days, send an email. So I was like, holy shit, I'm writing these emails, personalized, and I'm doing my research, looking on the website, writing a really good personalized pitch. That's where I sort of learned all the fundamentals of like how to actually get people to booked in and respond. But I was like, okay, well, they've introduced this tool. Now I can do this mass outreach. But I was thinking, well, okay, I used to write personalized outreach and research everyone and know, exactly who I'm reaching out to. And now I'm like, okay, well, I've got this list of leads. Let me just use a generic message and reach out to them. And then so I plugged it into the tool, and lo and behold, there was literally no responses. It was shocking. So I was like, okay, back to the drawing board. How can I actually make sure it sounds personal? I can build trust with the prospect, and it doesn't sound spammy and robotic. And so we can actually go and get responses booked in. So after lots of trial and error, and this is the exact strategy that I use now, is this. So I'm going to open up this, and this is exactly what I did to actually make sure we were getting responses. So again, you've got your lead list of 1,000 leads. Now, we don't all of these leads are slightly different. So we want to start segmenting this lead list and getting rid of all the people who we don't want to reach out to. We want to literally remove people who are not our ideal clients and not our ideal customer profile. So there needs to be some lead filtering here. And again, the temptation is just to get the lead, bang it in the automation tool, and fingers crossed, hope for the best. But believe me, if you spend a bit of time actually filtering the leads, so then you've got potentially half the amount of leads that were in this first list in the first place. So we've got rid of all the crap. Then that will allow you to build a strategy. Then you can actually go and write good copy and good copywriting. Then you use the automation tool to semi-automate. So for example, on email, you would use it just to maybe get a response. On LinkedIn, you would use it to basically do all the connection requests and then maybe send out the first couple of messages. You might do the same thing on Instagram, for example. Go follow someone and then, send 1 or 2 messages to begin with. And then you can actually have a human conversation and take over because the automation's done all the heavy lifting for you. And then you manually have a conversation, have a sales call and book them in. So what does that actually look like? So at the start, you've got your lead list, and the majority of people will just go and find, industry, location, bang, let's get them in the automation tool. Well, what we want to do is have a deep understanding of the ideal customer profile. So we want to know exactly who they are, so what their name is. We want to have their verified email address. You want to have their company name, company size, location, industry, job title, what their website is, any social media handles. And all this information isn't so you can write some sort of bullshit ChatGPT personalized first line where you're basically saying, hey, love what you're doing at company, and then you mention something from their website or like a blog. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about understanding this person so then you can actually have a good strategy and write your copy. For example, if we're reaching out to a company where they are a self-employed business or they've got, maybe 1 or 2 employees, your strategy and your email and your copywriting is going to be completely different if you're writing copy and you're doing a strategy targeting people who have got 1,000 employees and, they're a C-suite executive, CMO or CEO, compared to if you're just reaching out to a self-employed individual and you're looking just to get a response from them. It's going to look completely different. It's going to look completely different if you're reaching out to, let's say you run a campaign for financial services. Now, financial services could literally be anything. It could be mortgage broker, it could be a financial planner, it could be accountants, it could be literally anything. It could be asset finance, whatever it is. But if you know exactly in the lead filtering, okay, well, I'm actually just going to reach out to mortgage brokers who deal with residential home loans. Your strategy in the copywriting is going to be so much easier to write when you know this information and then you know exactly what the job title is. I'm only going to reach out to CEOs and people who are directors of the company. I'm only going to reach out to people who are based in London, for example. I'm only going to reach out to people who have got a small, that they're in a small company size 1 to 10 or 20 to 50. When you know all this information, you can write a very personalized outreach message that is going to resonate with them and get a higher response rate. And then once you've got all that information, having a deep understanding of that person. So what are their pains? What are they literally struggling with on a day-to-day basis? What do they need, want, desire? What do they actually want? So then you can go and customize your pitch, and you can do this in an automated fashion by the only way you can go and do that is if you know all of this information. So it's having the right information about that specific person. And then having a trigger is a bonus. So having a trigger for you to go and actually reach out. So for example, if the mortgage brokerage is currently hiring for a website developer on Indeed or LinkedIn, and you're a website development agency, that's the perfect time for you to go and reach out to them. I've done other videos on how to actually go and do that, but that is, gold dust if you can go and find that information. So as we go along the line, we've got the lead filtering. It's a ball ache to do, but once you do that, you're going to be miles ahead of everyone else who's just using this strategy here. Then let's say you've got 500 leads. So you've actually gone now and disqualified people, and you've got rid of people. You've cleaned the lead list. You've validated the emails if you're doing, cold email, for example, so you don't go into the spam box. Now you can go and build the strategy based on all this information. And then all of this is obviously going to be done on autopilot. So once you figured out that one single strategy for that one single ideal customer profile, then you can go and write the copy. And if you're kind of new to this and you've only used automation tools for say like 1 year or even 2 years, and you don't know like the psychology of how people go and respond and book in, or you've done it before and you've tested things and you've burned through those 500 leads or 1,000 leads, what I would suggest is you would have to go and validate your offer. So either do research on use ChatGPT, Perplexity to understand what these guys are actually struggling with. So job title, industry, pains, wants, needs, desires. What are those people struggling with, and how can you present your solution and do your copywriting to make sure they actually go and respond? Or if you are good at copywriting, then as soon as you know this information, you can build the strategy and do the copy. But you can validate this by basically just doing this manually, reaching out to people manually or asking people in your network. Once you validated that, because the reason why you do that is because if you haven't validated this offer or the script or the copywriting, you plug it into a tool, you're just going to burn through this lead list and you're going to not build any trust with the prospects, and you can't exactly go back to those people after you've sent them a pitch, a month down the line. You're probably going to have to wait, at least a couple of months before you reach out to them again. Otherwise, you're going to look like a spammer. So that's why, once you've figured out all that information, then you can go and use it to go use the automation tools like Pros for LinkedIn outreach, or your Instagram outreach, or your Instantly to go and do cold email outreach, to do the heavy lifting. So that might be to literally go and send the first couple of emails to then at least get a response from someone, and then you would manually take over and have a conversation and then book a sales call. Or on the LinkedIn standpoint, you would just use the tool to semi-automate. This is what I teach people to do, is like get these tools to do all of the sort of semi-automations, to do the heavy lifting, all the stuff that a VA probably had to do before we had like tools like automation where they would have to manually do all the mundane work. You're the person with the skill who's actually going through and doing all this. Not to say you can get a VA to go and do this, or pay for tools like Clay to go and filter the lead lists and things like that, but they're expensive. They cost a lot of money, but this is well worth doing. And then you would have a manual conversation with someone, book them in for a sales call, and then go and do the sale. So I've done this diagram here to basically explain where you actually want to be here. So where do you want to be when you're actually doing automation? So there's how much you're actually automating versus how human it feels. So generally, if you're automating the absolute, to the nth degree, you're probably not going to feel human. But there is ways to make sure that you actually sound human, so then people have trust with you. So you want to be in the high trust standpoint here, and you want to actually be automating as much as possible without sounding like a spammer or a robot. And where people tend to end up is around this point here, where they're using a template to begin with. They're just doing high volume and they've not filtered out the lead list or anything like that, which ultimately there's just no trust with the prospect. It doesn't feel human, and you end up writing emails that look like this, and they're just totally generic. So I'm not going to go into this too much, but I mean, for example, again, I just pulled this from my inbox like within about 3 seconds. Hi, and then there's no first name, so they're not saying hi Ben. I've been following your channel and your content is generally fantastic. It has an immense potential to reach even more viewers. Now that message there, that could be sent to anyone. Presumably he's talking about helping me with my YouTube or whatever. And there's no shade on this person. I'm not sort of like, people haven't been taught how to do this and use like automation tools, but at least find my first name. Do you know what I mean? At least say my first name if we're going to be doing outreach. And the strategy here is basically, if you're interested, reply yes. And then presumably they'd get me to go and book a call. So, I mean, it's just super generic. And if you're reaching out to, smart business owners who have not really got too much time, and if they can see that you've put minimal effort in like this, can you imagine what they're thinking on the receiving end? It's like, okay, well, they're just going to rush things. The quality of the outreach is terrible. So, their service is probably going to be terrible if I bring them on board, or if I even book that sales call. And then here's another example where it's just sort of generic. Again, no shade, but greetings, and then they've just put my email address, so they haven't even got the first name, and they're basically saying we do blah 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 blah, and then there's like a list of points. Let me know if you're interested. I'll send you our SEO packages and price lists. So the strategy there is to basically say, okay, get Ben to reply, and then I'll send over my packages and my price list. Like who is actually responding to that and saying, okay, let me go and see the price list. There's probably like 1% of people who would actually go and respond to this. So it's just not personalized. And, if you aren't using any automation tool and you're still just doing random outreach and you're just finding people, and not only is that going to take you forever, if you've got no strategy, you just need to have a simple lead list of one specific ideal customer profile with one specific message that you can reach out to. So if you're doing it manually and you're doing it random, this is probably the worst place you want to be. On the flip side, you can be doing, like I was saying, when I used to do B2B for the company in the UK, you can do high effort emails, DMs, Loom videos, whatever you want to do. But that's not the goal. Obviously, with this video, we're talking about how to automate things. This is great. You can do one-on-one emails and send people, Loom videos and do it on a manual basis. I always get people to start at that point if they've never done it before. Then they can introduce using automation tools. But here we're talking about how to actually have high trust with the prospects and actually automate the process. So semi-automate the process. So we want to just make sure that it's somewhat personalized. And I'm not talking about a personalized first line that all the gurus tell you to do, and it's like, here's just an example of where we've booked meetings with clients. So people basically say to you here, you go, "Hi Peter," and then you have that personalized first line. These do work. Obviously, it increases email deliverability if you're using AI to go and personalize the first line. But in my opinion, you don't need to waste time and energy setting up all these workflows, because a smart business owner on the other end is just going to know that you've pulled information from their website. So it might go, the personalized line might go, "Hi Peter, love what you're doing at company X. Noticed," and then you would pull some information from their website about like a review or something like that or whatever. Like, who cares? Like, get to the point. Like, "Peter, are you looking for a BDM? Hi Peter, thought this video might be interesting if you're looking to ramp up business development." And I've sent him a personalized video. It's actually a landing page, by the way, and it says Peter, then a quick video for you, and then it's a video of his website going in the background with me in the corner there. And, you can see that I've actually put effort in. No one cares about this like personalized line. I mean, at this stage with AI, it's getting a lot better. And, maybe in a couple of months or a year, it's going to be like amazing. It's going to be the best thing ever. And it's going to get responses booked in. But at this stage, I mean, I never use the personalized first line. I personalize in another way by understanding exactly what they know, what they need and desire, and what their pains are, and offering a solution. And then an extra step is to maybe, go and send them a video. But I'm not saying you even need to send them a personalized video. These are just some strategies that go and help. And then they click on the video, and then we booked 23 demos for our client last month, targeting X ideal client. It's a simple system. Here's what we do. Would you be open to a quick chat? We booked so many meetings. I think we launched this campaign literally a couple of days ago and booked 5 meetings on the first day it was launched. Like, it was crazy. But again, these tools, like I used a tool like Sender for this, but you can use like Replik, or you can just literally go and send people personalized Loom videos. You would just obviously need that lead list and have all the Loom videos set up. I go through that on my one-on-one coaching with people. Click the link in the description if you want to discuss how we can help you. But yeah, here's another example. "Kale, are you looking for a BDM? Hi Kale, just recorded this quick video for you. It shows you X people in X industry who are looking to land 3 to 5 qualified meetings each week, no ad spend." Bang, it's just super crystal clear and it's personalized. I'm explaining to them, because I know the clients that I reach out to don't want to spend money on ads, and they need a done for you system for lead generation. And, I'm combating the objections, and I'm saying we increase your revenue in 2 ways. As a business owner, you want to know, okay, well, if I have a call, like, what are you actually going to be able to help me do? So we increase your revenue by doing X and Y. No more relying on that's an objection handle. Open to a quick chat to see how this could work for you. And then they click on the video, and then they can book a call with me, or then just go and respond to the message. But this is just one strategy that you can go and use to go and get meetings booked in. And if you are using automation, there's just one key rule, is to make sure that you're building trust with the prospect and you're only really using it to semi-automate the process, and you've done that work to begin with the lead qualification. That will help you book in meetings. Now, if you do want some one-on-one support with your lead generation and you need some help generating leads in the B2B space, click the second link in the description. But in the first link in the description, if you're using LinkedIn LinkedIn for your lead generation and you're getting absolutely nowhere, definitely go and watch that training. If you click that link, it'll take you through, and I will send you the video training to go and explain how you can actually go and use LinkedIn and automation tools, and it will give you templates and video walkthroughs on how you can actually go and generate leads on autopilot. If I don't see you there, I will see you on the next one. Peace.